morning for me. It's Chris. It's the 14th of May. It's a Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. So Tuesdays are days when there are elections. I am breaking this news to you. You probably don't know about this fact, but something really, really interesting, worth your time, is happening today in Maryland. Okay, so Maryland has a Senate primary. Ben Cardin, Democrat, longtime Democrat, is retiring. And there's a primary to replace him between a congressman named David Trone and a local county executive named Angela Alsobrooks. Now, you're saying to yourself, Chris, why do I care about this? I live in North Dakota. I don't care about Maryland. Okay, here's why you should care. David Trone is rich. Very, very rich. And he is spending a massive amount of money on his Senate campaign. How massive, you ask? I'm getting good at rhetorical questions. $61 million. $61 million of his own money to win a Democratic primary for Senate in Maryland. Now, that's the record, as you might guess, for primary spending by a self-funder, $61 million. The previous record, and this is also fascinating, is held by a guy named Blair Hull. Who is Blair Hull? Blair Hull ran for the Senate in Illinois as a Democrat in 2004. He spent $29.6 million of his own money to lose to a little-known state senator at the time named Barack Obama. Okay, so Trone has doubled the record for personal funding in a primary ever. He has flooded the airwaves. I live in Virginia, but I have heard a zillion David Trone ads because he's bought the DC media market. So there's just ad after ad after ad. They're on TV, they're on the radio, they're on the internet, they're everywhere you can imagine. $61 million. That amount of money, this is stunning to me. Since the beginning of 2023, okay, David Trone has spent more money on TV ads than Joe Biden has for his re-election campaign. Yes, David Trone in, the relatively small state of Maryland has spent more money than the current president of the United States running for a re-election has across the country in all of these swing states. That's how much money David Trone has spent. Now, is David Trone going to win? You would think the answer to that would be, of course, $61 million of his own money. He might not. So the woman he's running against is named Angela Alsobrooks. She's an African-American woman. She's the Prince George's County executive. She has the endorsement of basically every Democratic elected official in the state. Chris Van Hollen, who's the other senator from the state. Wes Moore, who's the governor of the state. Steny Hoyer, longtime congressman from the state. So she's got the whole establishment behind her. Trone basically has himself and his massive checkbook. Polling suggests the race is going to be really, really close. And what's interesting about it is Trone has made how rich he is a major argument for his candidacy. So Trone has said, look, we're going to need a bunch of money in the general election. I've got a bunch of money. I can win this. Now, why would they need a bunch of money in the general election? They need a bunch of money in the general election because the Republican nominee who's going to win today is a guy named Larry Hogan. Now, you might have heard of Larry Hogan before. He's the former two-term governor of the state. He is a Republican in a very Democratic state. He's very popular in the state. He is one of the leading anti-Trump voices within the Republican Party. He thought about running for president as a Republican. That wouldn't have worked. He thought about running for president as an independent. That wouldn't have worked. And he sort of surprised everyone last year when he decided he was going to run for the Senate. But polling does suggest that Hogan is ahead, at least right now, of both Trone and Alsobrooks. So Trone's argument is we're going to need a lot more money if we're going to beat Larry Hogan. The National Party doesn't want to spend money in Maryland because they got to spend money in places like Ohio and Montana to try to hold those seats. So Trone will solve that problem by self-funding. Okay, it's kind of an interesting argument. I don't know if it will work. Here's one other fact just to keep in mind. If Trone spends just $2 more million, $63 million, he will break the record for all-time self-funding an entire race by a candidate. That record is held by Florida Senator Rick Scott, who spent $63-ish million to win his Senate seat. So you're just seeing a massive amount of money being poured into the state of Maryland. And I think this is a good test. How important is money? How important are ads versus endorsements and organization that Alsobrooks has, right? Trone is trying to buy this seat and to argue that Democrats need this seat bought because they can't spend money here in the general election. Will it work? So it's a fascinating thing. Trone has already written his name into the record books. Now the question is, has he spent $61 million to win or $61 million to lose? And we'll find that out tonight. Take care. As always, subscribe, like this video, tell 5 friends. We are building, people. Help me build. Take care. See you tomorrow.